What's up YouTube? It's Martin here from Cards at Home again, back for the video that I had told you about, the review spotlight video for the Trial Deck 4 from Within Hope F.E.D deck. Now I'm just going to go straight into it and run you straight through all of the cards, showing you their effects, showing you what they are about, and yeah, so let's just begin. Okay, so first up we've got the leader of the deck, which is Fearsome Authority Head Chief Adwa. He's the main leader of the deck. He's got 3 life, 2 hit, 4000 power, and he's Hope type, just like all the cards in the deck will be Hope type, and he's from the F.E.D clan. And he's got a bunch of effects, just like most of the leaders will have, which reads, the first effect is 1 leader. This effect is only active whilst on 1 damage or above, and only whilst in leader zone. During your turn, your opponent cannot choose any F.E.D unit in your unit area for card effects. Basically, that whole effect is just, it's all just to counteract the Donman Mayuri's leader effect. If you've seen the previous video, where he chooses a unit in your unit area to block with whenever you attack. This is just to counteract it. And then his second effect, which reads, when this unit is deployed, you can discard 1 card and send 1 card from your reserve pile to the graveyard. If so, rest units in your opponent's unit area up to the amount of other F.E.D units in your unit area. If 2 or more units were rested by this effect, you can then choose 1 rested unit in your opponent's unit area, stun it. And then he's also got a third effect, which is, if this unit is not in the leader zone, it gets hit -1 and life -2, just like most leader cards will have, so they can become normal units in the when they're outside of the leader zone. Now, basically, if you don't know by now, just from reading his effect, his second effect anyway, the F.E.Ds are all about stunning your opponent's units. Next up, we've got 2 copies of Riot Shield Ryan. He's got 1 life, 1 hit, 2000 power, and he's Hope type. And then his effect reads 2 Suppressor. Suppressor is just the resolve effect that's introduced for the F.E.D clan and into this trial deck. It's like what every clan will have their own unique resolve effect. This one has Suppressor, and this effect is only active whilst on 2 damage or above, which is once per turn during your main step. You can choose 1 rested unit in your opponent's unit area, stun it. Like what I said before, this whole deck is just all about stunning your opponent's units. And then he's got a second effect which reads, once per turn when this unit blocks, any damage it would take is reduced by 1. Then also, at the end of that battle, you can send 1 card from your reserve pile to the graveyard and choose 1 rested unit in your opponent's unit area. If so, stun the chosen unit. And next up, we've got 4 copies of first Squadron Bob. He's got 2 life, 1 hit, 2000 power, and he's Hope type. He's the starter leader of the deck, because his effect reads 0 leader. This effect is only active whilst on 0 damage or above, and only whilst in leader zone. Once per turn during your main step, you can choose 1 rested unit in your opponent's unit area, stun it, then choose 1 unit you control. It gets power plus 1000 to the end step. And then also the additional effect, where they become a normal unit when they're on the sidelines. And then next up, we have 4 copies of Superhuman Superintendent. He's got 2 life, 1 hit, 3000 power, and he's Hope type. And he's just the generic leader, like in every other deck that they've got, the whole, put the top card of your deck into your reserve pile and he gains 1000 power. And he also becomes a normal unit when he's on the sidelines. Then next up we got 4 copies of Cyborg Sergeant Surge. Now he's just the 2000 power resolve card for the F.E.Ds and for this deck, because he's got 1 life, 1 hit, 2000 power, Hope type, and his effect is just the Suppressor effect. This effect is only active whilst on 1 damage or above. Once per turn during your main step, you can choose 1 rested unit in your opponent's unit area, stun it. And now next up, following up from the 2000, we've got the 1000 Suppressor card, Stun Gun Trigger. He's got 1 life and 1 hit, 1000 power, and he's Hope type. And then his effect just reads the Suppressor effect. Once per turn during your main step, choose 1 rested unit in your opponent's unit area, stun it. And then next up, we've got 4 copies of the F.E.D vanilla card, Immaculate Rookie. Got 1 life, 1 hit, 2000 power, Hope type. And yeah, he's just got no effect at all. He's just a plain 2000 hitter. And now we've got 4 copies of the... If you've seen the previous video when I spoke about the reserve swapper generic card, This is the F.E.D version of it, which is called Prodigious Detective Reed. He's got 1 life, 1 hit, 1000 power and his hope type, and his effect reads: when this card is deployed, you can take 1 card from your reserve pile, add it to your hand, and then choose 1 card in your hand and send it to your reserve pile. Again, like what I said in the previous video about the trial deck 3, this card is just there for whenever you haven't got a leader in your hand at the start of the game, or when you're late in the game and you haven't got a leader anymore, and there's one sitting on your reserve pile. You know, you could just quickly do a little trade in and it keeps you in the game for a little while. So, and then next up we got 4 copies of Specialist Cadet. She's got 1 life, 1 hit, 2000 power, she's hope type, and her effect reads: when this unit is deployed, if there is a stunned unit in your opponent's unit area, you can choose 1 other rested unit in your opponent's unit area, stun it. And I really like how the art came out for this. And then next up is the greedy card. 4 copies of Protobot OB221. I have no idea what OB stands for, but it just sounded like something like a robot would be called, so that's how what he ended up being named. He's got 1 life, 1 hit, 1000 power, he's hope type, and his effect reads: when this unit is deployed, if there is a stunned unit in your opponent's unit area, draw 1 card. So that's pretty much why he's the greedy card, because you can just end up having 1 stun card in your opponent's unit area, deploy 4 of this card, and you're plussing 4 cards in a turn. So next up we've got 2 copies of High Intel Inspector. He's got 1 life, 1 hit, 1000 power, and his hope type, and his effect reads: once per turn during your main step, you can choose 1 stunned unit in your opponent's unit area. If so, choose 1 unit you control and it gets power plus X. X equals the power of the chosen stunned unit until the end step. And then next up, we've got 2 copies of the leader searcher for the deck, Support Wagon. It's got 1 life, 1 hit, 2000 power, and its hope type. Although you don't really ever use it for its power or for hitting or anything, because its effect reads: during your main step, if there are 2 or more stunned units in your opponent's unit area, you can send this card from your unit area to the graveyard and search your deck for 1 F.E.D unit with leader effect, add it to your hand, shuffle your deck, and discard 1 card. So that's all the units in the deck out of the way. Let's just move on to spell cards. So first up we got 2 copies of Backup Enforcers Delta Formation. This is just randomly just going to throw it out there, but for a little bit of trivia for you guys, F.E.D, the clan itself, the initials stand for Final Enforcers Department. But anyway, back onto the card itself. It's a flash card, and its effect reads: can only cast this card when your opponent declares an attack on an F.E.D unit in your leader zone and by resting 2 F.E.D units in your unit area. Null that attack, then you can choose 1 rested unit in your opponent's unit area and stun it. And I really like how this art came out. It worked so well, and the game crafter did a very good job with this. The next 2 cards is 2 copies of Blinding Guidance. It's a flash spell, and its effect reads: you can only cast this card when a hope type unit you control rests. Choose 1 unrested unit in your opponent's unit area, rest it. So this could be used whenever you either attack or you block, and the quicker you get a card rested on your opponent's side of the field, the quicker you can get them stunned by your effects. So this card can come in handy, it cannot sometimes, but if you don't really need it, you can just reserve swap it. So, and then we got 2 copies of Inherited Soul, which is found in pretty much every trial deck. And if you don't know its effect already, I'll tell you it once again. It's a flash spell, and its effect reads: send 1 unit from your hand to the graveyard and choose 1 unit you control of the same type. That unit gets power plus X. X equals the power of the set unit until the end step. And then we've got a copy of Emergency Blessings. Again, it's just another generic card that's in every single trial deck. It's a flash spell, and its effect reads: can only cast this card during the end step. For each rested unit you control, send the top cards of your deck to your reserve pile. And then we've got 1 copy of Fatigue Supplements. Again, 1 more generic card that's found in every trial deck. It's a flash spell, and its effect reads: send any amount of cards from your reserve pile to the graveyard, then choose an equal amount of rested units you control, refresh those chosen units. And then finally, we got 2 copies of Equivalent Exchange. Just a very basic normal card in every deck once again. Although in Trial Deck 3 and 4 you get 2 copies of it, unlike in Trial Deck 1 and 2 you only get 1 copy. It's just there for you to get that quick little gain, for you to recharge your hand, because it's a normal spell card and its an effect is discard 2 cards and then draw 2 cards. So once again, thank you very much for watching this. I really hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you liked any of the cards, do tell me down below. You know, give me your opinion on your favorite art, your favorite cards, effect, design. If you haven't done so by now, you know, hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.